Welcome back. So let's get into the third night of the Huset's Highbank Nationals. Technically, it's two split shows, but whatever. The prelim night to the Highbank Nationals, whatever you want to call it. Tonight is $250,000 to win. The race we are recapping here today is the one that sets up that race. And so we will get into it. We've got the finishing order from last night's feature over here on the right side of the board. Your guys' left, of course. The black numbers are where they started at in this main event, and the red numbers the black numbers where they finished at in the main event. The red numbers are where they started at. We've got the lap leaders down there at the bottom, and then we've got a couple of storylines over here that I would like to talk about from what we saw here yesterday. And then at the very end, I'm going to talk about who my top 5 favorites are coming into the finale after what we've seen so far the first 3 nights of action. So here we go. Let's get into it. A couple of things that I wanted to talk about here. I don't know if they're really storylines, but they're kind of just like some, I don't know if you want to say they're stats or whatever, but just some interesting things that we need to talk about here. The top 10 qualifiers from last night, so the top 5 from Flight A and the top 5 from Flight B, what happened to them throughout the night? Well, let's find out. 2 of them went to the redraw, so they were good. They passed a car or 2 in the heat race, and they went to the redraw. 1 of them started 15th in the A main, and 7 of them were in the B main. So 7 of the top 10 fastest guys in qualifying went to the B main last night. And probably the most ridiculous thing of all time is Rico Abreu. I honestly feel bad for him. I haven't talked to him since this whole week started, but I feel bad for Rico. He goes quick time on both of the prelim nights. So on Wednesday for the Huset Tussle and last night for the Highbank Nationals, Rico Abreu, fastest car in his group of qualifying, but he started in the 8th row of the B main on both of those races. I don't know what happened to him on the start of the heat races, but if you get a bad start in a heat race at Huset Speedway during the Highbank Nationals, you're done. Like, it's over. There's just, even if you're 3/10 faster than the guy in front of you, it is almost impossible to pass somebody in the heat races. And so Rico got a bad start on the outside, got passed by a car or 2. I think he went 6th to 8th. I don't know if he hit the wall or something else happened, but he went backwards. And he was done. Row 8 of the B main, and pretty much your night is over after that. So that is quite the stat for the quick time guy to miss the show on both prelim nights. Rico Abreu, I mentioned him, Aaron Reitzel, and Austin McCarl. All 3 of those guys were the fastest qualifier in their heat race, and they all went from 6th to 8th. And so they would all be in the B main. And like I said, pretty much their night was over. And speaking of Aaron Reitzel, I, from a very reliable source, was told that from a guy that was there at the race, he told me that Aaron Reitzel actually left the facility. The trailer, they all left after the race was over, or after the heat races were over. Aaron Reitzel, he was fast in qualifying, had a bad heat race, and he left. He just said, I'm out of here. And I honestly do not blame him one bit. If that was the case, I do not blame Aaron Reitzel for leaving. Because for you to qualify that good and start 6th in the heat race and not be able to pass cars, he got passed by a couple cars. I don't know if he got a bad start. It's the same thing with Rico. I have no idea what exactly transpired in this heat race because they're mostly showing the front of the field. But if you're the fastest qualifier and you are behind a car that you're faster than and you can't pass them, like what? I mean, it's just, I don't know. I wish the heat races were how they were on the of the Huset Tussle night, where they only ran hot laps and they only ran heat races. There was no qualifying involved, and the track was slick. There was 2 lanes. That wasn't the case last night. In my opinion, start after the heat races were over last night, after the 6th heat race, that track right there is where we should have started the heat races at. That's where it needed to start at, because then it's slick, then it's a little bit wider, then there's 2 lanes, then you can move around and pass cars, but that just wasn't the case. And so Aaron Reitzel, if that's true, I don't blame him one bit at all. And also, due to the track conditions, there are guys just kind of driving over their head. They're overdriving. They're making desperate moves, trying to get into positions and trying to gain a spot or 2 in the heat races. And we saw a couple of incidents pop up where that type of thing happened. The one notable one was Bill Baylog and Garrett Williamson. They kissed and made up later, but after the heat race, Baylog was not happy with Williamson. Williamson in the interview was saying that, we're running for $250,000. I'm going to be driving as hard as I can every single lap. So I think that because of the track conditions, you'll see these guys make some desperate maneuvers and probably piss a couple guys off on the way there. So that was interesting to see as well. I also did want to mention the heat race winners. Logan Schuchart got a win, Brad Sweet, Connor Morrell, Hunter Schoenberg, Christopher Traum, and Tyler Courtney. So one thing that is very different from the Huset race to the Skagit race is on the prelim night at Skagit on Thursday night, none of the heat race winners made the show. All of these heat race winners on this night made the show, including Logan Schuchart, who had not made a single main event all week long. He didn't make the prelim night to the hustle. He didn't make the hustle, but he finally was able to put it in the show on this night, and he would end up in the P6 position at the end of the night. There was also quite the little issue in the B main between Jai Corbett and Zach Hampton, and on the replay, I love Zach Hampton, and I've seen him do this a million times, but it did not work out this time. He went to the inside of Jai Corbett on the start. When the leader goes, you go. And Zach Hampton ran over the infield berm, ran over the left front of Jai Corbett, folded up his front end. Corbett was not happy with Zach Hampton there. And so, like I said, I mean, even with the track conditions, these guys are going to be making moves like this, and it's going to piss people off. And that was the case right there between Jai Corbett and Zach Hampton. And so Corbett would be done. Hampton did not make the transfer. Tanner Thorson was passing cars in the B main. He went plus 11 in that B main, but it was still not enough for him to get into the transfer spot. And then in the feature, we'll get to that point now. Bill Baylog, Garrett Williamson had a really, really good battle in that main event to start things off, with Garrett Williamson leading the first lap of the main event. But it seemed like, they were side by side. They would get close to each other on the rear bumper, front bumper to rear bumper. They were close through traffic and all that stuff. It was a pretty entertaining race. I will say that it was entertaining. I thought the feature track was way better than what I thought it was going to be. They had a lot of prep going on before. It took a long time for the main event to get going. Somehow the main event at Huset's was going on at the same time as Skagit. With a 2-hour time difference. I'm not sure how that's possible, but the track was good. I mean, I've always said that if you want to wait around for track prep for a better racing surface, then I'm all for it, right? I mean, it was a late night, but they did what they had to do to get to get an entertaining race, and I think that they did do that. I mean, Garrett Williamson and Bill Baylog put on a really, really good show there. And, Baylog obviously was able to get the victory. Also, I did want to mention Sheldon Hodenshield. He was very noticeable in this A-main. He was the hard charger in the feature. He started 13th and ended up in 5th. And that's the Sheldon we were expecting to see coming into this week of action. I don't remember where he's finished at the last 2 nights, but this looked dangerous for the rest of the field. If Sheldon starts in the top 5 tonight in the Highbank Nationals finale, I think that he's the main guy to challenge Buddy Kofoid for the $250,000. We've already seen Sheldon win this race before. And so after that performance last night, I think the NOS Energy Drink 17 is going to be very good going into the finale this evening. And like I said, this was the best, in my opinion, this was the best feature track they've had all week. Let me know your thoughts if you think, Wednesday was better or if you thought Thursday was better. To me, this was the best one out of all of them so far. Hopefully that trend continues into tonight and we have another good track for the finale. Green to checkered 2 nights in a row. I'm pretty sure there was not a single yellow in this main event. Like I said, it was going on at the same time as Skagit, so I'm trying to watch 2 different screens and keep up with what's going on. But that's pretty impressive. 40 laps at the hustle and 35 laps on the prelim night, all green to checkered in the feature event. So that is very, very cool to see. And then Baylog, it does get redemption, but kind of, right? I mean, he made 25 grand at the hustle for second place, but then, the next night he wins, but he only gets 20 grand when, it was redemption. It's just $80,000 less of redemption than what he could have had if he was able to win on Thursday night. But still, very, very cool to see for Bill Baylog. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, he is doing a lot more with a lot less. He's a guy he's driving the truck and trailer. He's working on the car. He's staying up late. He's getting up early. He's doing all the things to get his car ready. And so for Baylog to get the win, that is absolutely awesome. He is going to be in a great spot for a $250,000 payday, which would go a long, long, long ways for a team like that. And so you cannot be upset with a Bill Baylog win. It is absolutely impossible. I will not stand for anybody that is upset for Baylog winning. Also, Ryan Timms, he had I think it was like a 3-way tie for the hard charger. Sheldon Hodgshield +8, Ryan Timms also +8. He went from 16th to 8th. And there was another guy, I think it was Macedo. Yeah, he went +8 as well, 22nd to 14th. So there was definitely some guys making moves in there. That was the best we've seen Ryan Timms look all week long. I mentioned him in the video on Monday. I thought he was one of the best guys coming into the week. He did not show that the first two nights, but yesterday he looked very, very good. A P8 position there for Ryan Timms, and so maybe he could start on the front row of the heat race and be in a good spot for tonight's finale. And then I still think that Buddy Kofoid is the card to beat. He ran third for a majority of this feature. Garrett Williamson hit the wall in the last corner, and Buddy was able to go underneath him and take second at the line. But I still think Buddy is the car to beat. I know Baylog won tonight, but, I mean, Buddy has been, first? He's been second and second again, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been a very good week for Kofoid, and I just don't see how anybody is able to take him down for tonight. He probably would have drove even harder last night if it was for $250,000. So Buddy Kofoid, in my opinion, still the guy that everybody's going to be chasing. And then at the bottom here, I did want to mention Logan Schuchart again. He finally made his first feature of the week, which is pretty incredible to say. He just did not have good qualifying efforts, and he was already behind the 8-ball a couple times earlier on this week. So nice job to Schuchart to make the show, and he's in a good spot for $250,000 tonight. And so my top 5 going into this evening, in my opinion, these 5 cars, if one of them doesn't win, I will be surprised. Of course, Kofoid is going to be leading the charge for me. And then right behind him, I mean, you got to have Baylog on there, right? He has been solid all week. He was second on Thursday, Thursday, got the win last night. And I don't remember where he was at on Wednesday, but I think he was kind of towards the front. So Baylog is my second best guy right now. David Gravel, I have him in third, even though he hasn't been better than fourth or third the entire week. He's just been kind of there, right? He hasn't shown the winning speed, but I think when the big money comes on the line, he's going to turn things up a little bit. I'm going to have Gravel at number 3. Sheldon, after last night's performance, I've got him at number 4. I think he's going to be a problem. And then Garrett Williamson. He's ran third this week, and he's ran 5th in the features that he's made. Led a lap yesterday as well. So I'm going to put Garrett Williamson on there. I had him down as a long shot on Monday to win this race. And so Williamson has been very, very impressive. It's been fun to watch. He is my 5th best car going into this evening. So Baylog got the win, Kofoid second, Williamson third, David Gravel 4th, and Sheldon Hodenshield ended up in 5th. Logan Schuchart, Gio Selzy, Ryan Timms, Tyler Courtney, and Brad Sweet round out the top 10. Christopher Traum with a very, very good run. He won a heat race, and he finished up 11th in the feature. Then you had Hunter Schoenberg, who's had a really under-the-radar week so far. He ran top 10 last night, 7th place, or the night before, and then 12th on this one. Chase Randall, then you had Carson Macedo, and Ashton Torgerson has made every single feature this entire week. I don't know how, but Ashton Torgerson, first time he sits against a really stacked field. There's not many guys that can say they've made the show every single night. Nice job by Ashton Torgerson. He has been fun to watch. Cole Macedo, 16th. Kerry Madsen, 17th. Brady Bacon, 18th. 19th to Ian Madsen, and 20th went to Donnie Schatz. And then you had Anthony Macri, Brian Brown, Connor Morrell, and Riley Goodnow rounded out the field. So that is the Rodman rundown from last night at Huset Speedway. Now tonight, $250,000 on the line, the richest paying race of the season when it comes to the winner's share. So it'll be fun to see who comes out on top. Let me know your picks down below. Let me know what you thought of last night's race. Hit like, hit subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys again later on today for a recap of the Dirt Cup at Skagit Speedway. Thanks for watching.